Hey guys, what's up? Raw Butter here, and I'm coming to you today with a video, the first of a series, talking about how to make a pneumatic Automag, or a Pneumag for short. I know this isn't the first video that's been made. There were others that were floating around back in the day, but that was before YouTube, and there were some patent things going on that were forcing people to shut things down. So hopefully this will be a new video for a new generation of Pneumag makers, and I'll put it up on YouTube so that anyone can see it and comment and add suggestions and all that sort of stuff. Before we get started, I'm going to explain basically what a Pneumag does. With your basic Automag, you have a rail and the rest of the gun, and the rail goes into the trigger frame, and then this little trigger pin comes, and when you pull the trigger, you're actually just pushing this part back, and then that activates the valve and does all the magic. What a Pneumag does instead is when we take off this, we can replace your trigger action, your finger action, with this piston instead. Some of the air is going to get redirected into an LPR like so. Okay. And then once the air is in the LPR, it gets reduced and it goes into some kind of on-off valve. This happens to be a Fabco MSV2. There's a couple different ones out there, but this is it's a low pressure on-off valve, and when I push this, some of the air goes through and then pushes the piston. This is a clippered MAV3, I think. And so we're going to put all this stuff inside of the frame, and then instead of the trigger pushing the sear, the trigger is going to push this little lever, and then the piston is actually going to push the sear instead. Okay, this makes it a lot lighter, a lot quicker, okay, and a lot more fun, in my opinion. However, I should say that if you're just looking for a quick, fast gun, a Pneumag is probably not the way to go. Back when these were first made in the early 2000s, there weren't a whole lot of other cheap options or affordable options for making a gun quick. There weren't as many cheap electros that we have now. But nowadays, you can, for the price of a Pneumag is going to set you back around, well, let's see, you need an Automag first, preferably one with a double trigger frame, so that's going to cost you at least $100, $150, something like that. The pneumatic components are going to set you back another $100, probably. Then you really need a valve that can handle the quick speed, so you need an RT valve or an X valve, so that's going to be another couple $100. So you're looking at, to build a Pneumag, you're looking at $300, $400, maybe $500 to make it work really well. And for that amount of money, there are a whole lot of other guns that you can get nowadays that they're going to shoot just as quick or quicker. They have eyes, they have batteries, but that's kind of the only thing that makes them worse in any way. So if you just want a quick gun, maybe a Pneumag isn't right for you. The Pneumag is more for someone who wants to have the experience of building something. Someone who kind of, if you grew up playing with Legos or something like that, and you just want the experience of building something with your own two hands that's fun and quick, then that's really what the Pneumag is all about, is the actual project, not really the end result, okay, at least nowadays. So to do this project, obviously you're going to need some kind of trigger frame, preferably a double trigger frame. The more space you have on the inside, the better. This is just a standard IntelliFrame, one of the newer models. We're going to use that. You're going to need an LPR, obviously. You're going to need some pneumatic components. I'm going to put a link in the description. The best place to get these is from M. Carter Brown or automags.org. There's a thread called Pneumag Parts and Kits by Know Nothing Mags, I think, and he sells like a complete kit that has this and that, and a whole bunch of other little fittings, a whole bunch of little screws and things, which I've got here. That's really the best way to go, because otherwise you're buying all these things individually, you're paying individual shipping for all of them. These pistons, when you first get them, they don't actually look like that. They're a little bit longer, and the sides are not, the sides have been ground down flat, which Know Nothing Mags has done for me. So that, buying it from him really is worth it. I would highly, highly recommend it. I don't think he charges too much on top of what the parts actually cost him, so that's something to do. I should mention that there are other pneumatic components that you could use instead. I actually personally prefer the Mac. This is a Mac 43 solenoid valve, which kind of does the same thing. It's just an on-off valve, but the motion is very, very short, and it's actually a little bit lighter than the other one. There's also the Mac 33, which is even smaller. It's about that big. But these are a lot more expensive, and they're a lot more difficult to mount because, you know, getting a trigger pin to exactly hit that little thing is harder than getting a trigger pin to hit this lever. But just to give you an idea, I mean, these are the Mac 33s. I think are like $30 some, and then these fittings are another $2 or $3 on top of that, and then shipping. It's a lot easier and cheaper. If this is your first time, you definitely want to go with this option. Okay. Besides all that, you're going to need a tap kit of some sort. You can get away with just an 832 tap, but I think for $10 you can get a basic kit that includes, you know, 632, 832, 1032, 1024, and then also gives you this little wrench thing. I forget what it's called, a tap wrench. So get a tap kit. That's very useful. You're also going to need, obviously, some drill bits. You're going to definitely need a 1/8, a 9/64 for your 832s. Then you're going to need a special long 1/8 drill bit. You can find these on eBay or on Amazon or wherever. Just look for a 1/8 drill bit that's long. This one's 6 inches, but eventually we're going to drill a hole for the trigger pin straight through the front and all the way through to here. And if you use a regular 1/8 drill bit, you're gonna be hard pressed to actually get it the whole way through. So we're gonna use this guy instead. Anyway, next we're gonna need a file. At some point we're gonna need a center punch. You can get away with just a nail and, you know, a hammer, but a center punch really is much more effective. You're gonna need a vise of some sort. You can get away with just a C-clamp, but really a bench vise is much better. I've got one off to the side that I'll show you at some point. What else? You're gonna need a drill, obviously, drill gun. And then you're also going to need a roto-zip or a Dremel or whatever it is you call it, some kind of thing with the cutting wheel is really the important thing. You're going to need that at some point. We're going to use that to cut off these little brackets on the inside of the frame. You can get away with just a regular hacksaw, and I'll show you how to do that, but this will save you a whole lot of time and effort to do that. Let's see, what else do we need? Obviously you're going to need other things like, you know, pliers and wrenches and Allen keys, but hopefully if you have an Automag already, you're going to have all that stuff. Okay, so that's video number 1. Stay tuned for video number 2 where I'll show you how to prepare your frame.